The job interview question, why should I hire you? This is everybody's favorite. Let's start with this. Okay. Now, everybody loves this question. This is one of these traditional job interview questions that have been asked pretty much from the dawn of time. From time immemorial, they've been asking this stupid question, and I love it because it's another one of those delightful questions where, you know, literally it's not what they're asking. They're asking something else, something other than literally what they're asking. Everybody loves those, right? So right off the hop, people that are a bit more literal will have a harder time with this question. If they ask you in a job interview, they say, why should we hire you? You might be tempted to say something along the lines of, well, so I don't starve because I need a job, I need to eat. Fail. That's not what they're asking. They're not asking, why should I hire you? They're actually asking, why should I hire you specifically instead of someone else? Okay, that's what they're asking. That's what this question means. So right off the hop, it's one of those delightful things where, you know, you have to almost have a sense of reading between the lines or understanding the context clues of what they're saying to fully understand what they're asking of you. So if you are new to job interviews, very important point, okay? What they're asking is, why should I hire you? Or why should we hire you? What's so special about you as opposed to why we shouldn't just go with the next candidate that comes along? Usually if you're doing a job interview, the way it works is they are usually interviewing somewhere in the area of about 6 to 8 candidates. That's usually typical. So people might respond to a job posting with a job application, and they might get hundreds of applications, especially if it's an internet posted job. But of all those hundreds of applicants, they usually pick about 6 to 8 people to do a proper job interview with, okay? So if you're going down for an interview, you're probably competing against about 6 to 8 people, something like that. You're one of them. And the obvious question they're going to ask you is, why should we select you instead of one of them? What's so special about you? So this is actually a very good question to be asked because they're giving you the floor. They're saying, go ahead, tell us what's so great about you and give us your pitch. Okay, that's what this question really is. Now, like I've seen the internet. I've heard what people are saying on it, and a popular response that you seem to get in internet comments to this question is a very arrogant response. If someone asks you, why should we hire you? You say, well, why would I want to work here? Right? Don't do that. That's a fail, okay? Don't give that answer. That is not a good answer. It doesn't show you're assertive. It just shows that you're an arrogant prick, and you shouldn't say that, okay? That's not the right response. That will be looked at unfavorably pretty much universally, okay? So don't say that. Don't say, you know, well, why would I want to work here as an answer to this, okay? Don't say... Oh, the obvious retort to that, like response is, well, you applied for the job, you know, you saying, why would I want to work here? Well, I don't know. You tell me. You applied for the job, right? So don't say stuff like that. Don't say, you know, because I don't want to starve. You know, those are bad answers. Let's get that stuff out of the way first. Okay, let's get into how you do answer this question, because I know everyone out there is dying to know. Here's the deal. If you're relatively young or new at job seeking and job interviews, here's what's going on. Excuse me, as I nearly hurl. Recruiters care about requirements, okay? That's what they're for. You see, the way it works is a recruiter isn't the one that decides to hire someone. That's done by a hiring manager. A hiring manager is a boss. Okay, so if you go down for job interviews and you get the job, you'll be working for the hiring manager. The hiring manager is going to be your boss. Okay, they're usually the person that initiates the whole job vacancy in the first place. They're the ones that decide, I need to hire someone. I'm going to post a position. And this is kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, so they're the ones that initiate the entire process. The recruiter is someone else. The recruiter is someone that's a bit lower down. They're brought in and they're tasked with, now that I know I need to hire someone, your job as a recruiter is to go out and find me some candidates that meet these requirements. They have all of these things, okay? I've made a list of, say, 6 requirements that are essential. They're deal breakers if you don't have them. And then on top of that, maybe another 6 things that are nice to have, okay? So the hiring manager writes those down, thinks them up, and then gives them to the recruiter. And the recruiter's job is to then go out and find candidates that meet that, okay? That's what's going on here. So if you go down to a job interview and you're talking to a recruiter, the recruiter is thinking, okay, do you have the requirements? That's the big thing on their mind. So they're evaluating you against this list of requirements they've been given. And if you have them, then it's likely you will move on to the next round of consideration. If you don't have them, then you are eliminated as of right now, and they move on only with people that meet all those things, those list of requirements, okay? So that's what recruiters care about in a job interview. That's what they are interested in. That's what they're looking for. Now, when you're asked this question, why should we hire you? And they're giving you the floor to sell yourself, to make a pitch and say, this is why you should hire me. This is why you should forget all those other candidates and you should hire me, okay? You speak to what the recruiters care about, and they care about requirements. That's their entire job. They have to find people that meet the requirements, okay? So, in your answer to this question, you're going to use the requirements. So a great answer to this question, when they say, why should we hire you, is you say something along the lines of, well, as I understand it, you're looking for someone who, and then you go down the list of requirements that they mentioned in the job posting. So if they were looking for someone with this education, let's say, I don't know, a degree in medicine, I don't know, this experience, 5 years experience performing brain surgery, and these skills, the ability to do a crossword puzzle while you're excising a brain tumor, that's what they've said in the job posting under the section called requirements. This is what you say to them in response to this question. They say, why should I hire you? You say, well, as I understand it, you're looking for someone who has a medical degree. I have that. You're also looking for someone who's got 5 years experience performing brain surgery. Right here, I can do that. I've got 7 years experience doing that. And you're looking for someone who can do crossword puzzles while they're removing brain tumors. Well, I have several years experience doing that every single week. So I'm your guy. So when the recruiter hears this, they go, okay. They're going down that checkbox of the requirements and they're saying, yes, 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 check, check, check. Okay, that's great. You're giving them what they're looking for. Okay, and that's how you answer this question. Now, there's some details we've got to get into here. What I recommend is that when you go to a job interview, you're probably going to be bringing some papers with you. Yes, papers. In this day and age, you're still going to be using papers. There are some issues putting a device on the table, like a smartphone or a tablet or anything like that. There are still issues with that because people don't know if you're secretly recording them, or they don't know if you're distracted and you're looking down for notifications, like you're waiting for a phone call or you're looking at the clock or something like that. So there's all kinds of potential issues if you put a device like a smartphone on the table in the job interview. But there's absolutely no problem with using papers. Maybe it's a bit passé, but not really. Okay? So what I recommend is you go down to the job interview and you have a copy of the job posting printed out and with you. So you can put it on the table and have it in front of you when you're doing the interview. Now, what is a good idea is beforehand, before you get to the interview, you printed out the job posting and you highlighted maybe one word on each of the requirements that they listed. So you say medical degree, you highlight that. You say brain surgery, you highlight that. And crossword puzzle, you highlight that. So the idea is that when you're talking to the interviewer, you got this paper in front of you and you can quickly glance at it and see, okay, medical degree, got that. And then the next item, got that, next item, got that, next item, got that. So you don't have to memorize what the job requirements were. You can have that in front of you. And just to be clear, I don't mean you do the entire interview staring down at the piece of paper like this. No, it means that you just glance at it, just as a memory jog. I got that. Yeah, just like I have my notes here for this live stream, I have them over here, right? I'm not doing the entire live stream like this. I'm just occasionally glancing at it, just like that, right? But I'm maintaining eye contact. That's what you can do. And that really helps a lot, being able to have this stuff in front of you. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so it's not a distraction. It's something you can glance at. Now, the question comes up, what if I don't meet all the requirements? They've listed, let's say, 10 requirements in the job posting. They've said we're looking for people that have these 10 things, right? Now, let's say you have 7 of the 10, okay? And you sent in your resume, but they called you in for an interview. You go down to the interview, and you're a little bit worried because in the job description, it says they're looking for someone who can do a crossword puzzle while they're performing brain surgery. And you've never actually done that before, so you're worried. If they ask you about that, what are you going to say? You're going to have to say, no, in all honesty, I haven't done that. But it doesn't seem like the end of the world. I could probably rise to the challenge, but you're still a bit worried. So the question is, what do you do if you don't meet all the requirements they listed? Well, here's the idea. In the job posting, a lot of times, they will list things as requirements that aren't actually hard requirements. They're nice to haves. So if you don't have it, it's not a showstopper, it's not a deal breaker, but it would be nice if you had that. They're ideally looking for someone that has that, okay? Now, when you get this question, why should I hire you? Like I said, you're going to be going down the job requirements. If there's one listed that you don't have, how do you handle it? Here's the deal. The fact that they've invited you down for the interview, that signals that that particular item is not a hard requirement because you haven't, like presumably you haven't lied and said that you have it when you don't. You just haven't mentioned it. It's not on your resume or anything like that, but they called you down anyway. So that's signaling that it's not an absolute hard requirement. It's a nice to have. Now, what you would like to do, ideally, is put their mind at ease that this item is not going to be a problem. You're not going to say you have it when you don't, but what you'd like to do is address it somehow, speak to it, okay? So let's say it says, we're looking for someone who has 5 years experience doing brain surgery. Let's say you don't have that. You maybe only have 1 year experience instead of 5. How do you handle that? Well, do you not mention it? No. This is what I would say. You want to put their mind at ease that the experience part is not going to be an issue. So you want to say, well, I don't have 5 years experience, but I do have 1 year experience. And in that 1 year, I feel like I can handle myself. I've been able to easily deal with any of the challenges that I've faced. Words to that effect. You're putting their mind at ease that that requirement is not going to be an issue for you. You could say, I've worked with a lot of all my peers have 25 years experience, doing surgery, and I work on the same cases that they do, and you know, sort of, you know, I handle the same types of work that they do, you know, something like that, that puts their mind at ease. So I wouldn't say don't mention it. I wouldn't demurely admit that you don't have it, but I'd speak to it and say, like, I got 1 year, but it's not going to be an issue for this reason. Okay, does that make sense? And finally, the last part of this I want to say is I've gotten the question before that if you're in a job interview and they've asked you already in the interview questions where you have to answer by saying you have these job requirements. You know, the answer to the question is, you know, similar to what you're going to say here. Like, for example, let's say they asked you, instead of saying, why should I hire you? They said, what makes you think you're qualified to do this work? And you answered by saying, well, I'm a fully qualified medical doctor. I have a degree in medicine. So, you know, by definition, I am qualified to handle this type of work. That is the purpose of degree in medicine, right? So you've already said that. But then they ask you this question. They say, you know, well, why should I hire you? And you feel weird because the way of answering this question is to go down the requirements. And the first requirement is to say that, you know, they're looking for someone with a medical degree. So you'd be repeating yourself, right? And the question is, can you repeat yourself? The answer is yes, you can. If you already said that, that's fine. Answer this question the way you would answer it, and don't worry about if you're repeating any of these points. You don't want to repeat the exact same words verbatim, but you can make the exact same point. You say, well, you know, I'm a fully qualified medical doctor. I have a medical degree. You know, there's no harm in saying that again. You're actually reiterating it. Maybe they didn't pick up on that the first time you said it. Maybe they were writing something down while you were answering. Right? So repeating yourself is perfectly fine. Okay? So that's what I would say is the answer to the job interview question, why should I hire you? What you basically say is, well, as I understand it, you're looking for someone who, and then you go down the list of job requirements, speaking to each one. Do as many as you can before they cut you off. Try not to ramble. And that's how you answer this. That's a very powerful answer. You're giving the recruiter exactly what they want. Don't worry about repeating yourself. And you will do well with this question. If you want to go deeper, check out my Get Hired course. All my advice all in one place for questions like this and a lot of other things beyond.